there's a concept in psychology called reactance, which is that you can't make me feeling. And we all have it to some extent, but some kids come out of the womb with an extra helping of reactance. With these kids, our goal is not to have a head-to-head power struggle, because everyone loses with that. And some kids will be a martyr for a just cause because they just dig in and they're not going to give in. So try not to do that. How do we get around that? Well, one possibility is to start with a rationale. You tell me, why does this matter? Or, say, why do you think I care about this? And you got to pick your moment. Like if they're flooded, that's not the good time to be having the conversation. But at some neutral time, you could talk about it. Another thing that I love is Ross Greene, that's Greene with an E, has a wonderful method called collaborative problem solving. And actually, there was some legal problems and he changed the name, but I'm calling it collaborative problem solving because the new name is hard to remember. But anyway, here's how it goes. When there is a situation that is routinely difficult, you start by talking to the kid to try to understand their perspective on it. So you might say something like, I've noticed whatever it is you've noticed. And then you ask the kid, what's going on? And you want to be genuinely curious about, because we can't solve the problem unless we understand the kid's perspective on it. And then you want to describe the problem in terms of two concerns. One is the kid's concern, and two is everybody else in the world's concern. And then you might say something like, I know it's hard for you to get your homework done when your brother is making a lot of noise when you're trying to study. At the same time, when you throw your shoe at him, that he could get really hurt. So what can we do to solve this? And you toss it to the kid. See if the kid comes up with something. Now, my experience is that the first suggestion from the kid is always completely unreasonable. So it's like, well, the brother should move out. Well, that's not going to happen. So you could say, well, that's one option, but it doesn't take care of concern number two, which is that we want a peaceful family. And then you toss it back. What else can we do? So don't get derailed by that unreasonable suggestion. Toss it back. What else could we do? If the kid comes up with a partial solution, you say, that's interesting. And then you ask more questions to help the kid flesh out the solution. What about this situation? What if that happens? And you can almost see their little brain growing in front of your eyes because they're thinking it through and they're weighing those two different concerns. If they have a good solution, you say, let's try it and see how it goes. And if there's no solution, because not every episode is going to lead to a glorious resolution, then you say, well, let's both think about it and we can talk some more later. But I promise you, whatever solution the kid comes up with is better than what we adults can come up with because the kid is invested in that working. I'll give an example from my kids. My oldest was kind of an intense kid. So when she went to all-day first grade, she didn't just go to school. She went to school with all of her heart and soul, which meant by the time I got her at 3 p.m., she had completely used up all of her good behavior, and it wasn't pretty. So one day I said to her, we have a problem. She said, what? I said, every day it's the same thing. Come home, hit your brother, get a timeout. And she said, every day? I said, yes, every day, except for the days when it's hit your brother, come home, get a timeout. And I said, I bet we could come up with a solution that's more fun for everybody. Well, she came up with the idea of having a snack in the car. Now, we were literally 3 minutes away from the school. So I don't know if she was so desperately hungry or if this was just a soothing, calming activity for her, but it worked. And it worked because it was her solution.